Tonight, we will explore the enchanted kingdom of Ebenreach, where ancient magic and timeless melodies intertwine. Before we begin, take a moment to get comfortable. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow your body to sink into the comfort of your bed. Imagine a soft, warm light surrounding you, easing away the stresses of the day. With each breath, let go of any tension and feel yourself becoming lighter, as if you're floating on a gentle breeze. As you listen to the story of Princess Liana and her quest to lift the curse from her kingdom, let the soothing imagery and calming words lull you into a restful sleep. The story will carry you through a world of wonder, where every note and every whisper brings you closer to a peaceful slumber. Now, let the tale unfold, and allow your mind to wander freely, drifting on the melodies of the night. Sweet dreams await you, and as you listen, may the story bring you comfort, serenity, and a night of deep, restorative sleep. Chapter 1. The Enchanted Palace. Once upon a time, in a land blanketed by the soft whispers of forgotten magic, there was a kingdom unlike any other. Surrounded by towering mountains that cradled the skies and dense forests where secrets of the ancients were hidden, lay the realm of Ebenreach. This kingdom, once a beacon of prosperity and joy, had fallen under a dark and dreadful curse. In the heart of Ebenreach stood a grand palace, its once lustrous walls now dull and covered in creeping ivy. The air around the palace seemed heavy, carrying with it a sense of sorrow and despair that clung to the hearts of its inhabitants. The royal family, who had ruled the land for generations with wisdom and compassion, was now a shadow of its former self. The cause of their misery was a curse that had struck without warning, shrouding the kingdom in an eternal twilight. Princess Liana, the youngest and most spirited of the royal family, could not bear to see her people suffer. With eyes that sparkled like the evening stars and a heart as pure as the first snowfall, she was determined to lift the curse and restore Ebenreach to its former glory. Liana's days were filled with searching for answers, consulting with the kingdom's scholars and wise folk, but to no avail. The source of the curse remained elusive, and hope began to wane. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves turned to shades of gold and crimson, Liana found herself drawn to the palace's forgotten library. Dust motes danced in the shafts of light that pierced through the old, stained glass windows. The library, a labyrinth of ancient knowledge and forgotten lore, was a place where few dared to tread. Liana's footsteps echoed softly as she wandered through the aisles, her fingers brushing against the spines of countless tomes. In a hidden alcove, behind a tapestry depicting the kingdom's legendary heroes, Liana discovered a door she had never seen before. It was small and unassuming, almost as if it was waiting to be found. Curiosity sparked within her, and with a gentle push, the door creaked open. Inside, a narrow staircase spiraled downward into darkness. With a deep breath, Liana descended the steps, the air growing cooler with each step. At the bottom, she found herself in a dimly lit chamber. The walls were lined with shelves, each filled with peculiar artifacts and objects of unknown origin. In the center of the room, on a pedestal draped with a silken cloth, lay an instrument unlike any she had ever seen. A silver trombone, glimmering softly despite the lack of light. Liana approached the pedestal, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. As she reached out to touch the trombone, a strange warmth emanated from it, wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. She lifted the instrument carefully, feeling an unexplainable connection to it. The silver trombone was etched with intricate runes that seemed to pulse with a gentle, rhythmic light. In that moment, Liana knew she had found something extraordinary. The trombone, she sensed, held a power that could alter the very fabric of time. It was a glimmer of hope in the darkness that had enveloped her kingdom. With renewed determination, she vowed to uncover the secrets of the silver trombone and use its magic to undo the terrible curse that plagued her family and her people. Emerging from the chamber, Liana's mind buzzed with possibilities. She needed guidance, someone who understood the ancient magic that flowed through the trombone. As if in answer to her silent plea, a gentle breeze whispered through the halls of the palace, carrying with it the faint strains of a melody she had never heard before. Drawn by the enchanting music, Liana made her way to the palace gardens, where a mysterious figure awaited. A musician who held the key to the trombone's secrets and the power to change their destiny forever. The palace gardens, usually a haven of peace and solitude, were now filled with a hauntingly beautiful melody. The music weaved through the air, enchanting and ethereal, like a siren's call beckoning Liana. She followed the sound, her heart fluttering with a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. As she stepped into the moonlit garden, Liana saw a figure standing by the ancient fountain. The musician was cloaked in a robe of midnight blue, his face obscured by the hood. He played a silver flute, its notes mingling with the soft rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. The melody seemed to resonate with the very essence of the garden, each note a whisper of forgotten tales and hidden magic. Liana approached cautiously, her hand still clutching the silver trombone. The musician paused, lowering the flute, and turned to face her. His eyes, when they met hers, were a startling shade of violet, filled with an otherworldly wisdom and a hint of amusement. "Princess Liana," he greeted, his voice as melodic as his music. "I have been expecting you." "Who are you?" Liana asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "And how do you know my name?" "I am Arion," he replied with a slight bow, "a bard and a traveller of time. The silver trombone you hold is a powerful artifact, capable of altering the very threads of destiny. It has chosen you, princess, to wield its magic and undo the curse that plagues your kingdom." Liana's grip tightened on the trombone. "How can this instrument help me? I don't understand its power." Arion smiled, a gentle and reassuring expression. "The The silver trombone holds the essence of time within its notes. By playing it, you can traverse the past and shape the future. But it is not a power to be wielded lightly. It requires understanding and mastery. He motioned for her to sit beside him on a marble bench near the fountain. "I will teach you the melodies that control time," he continued. "Each note must be played with precision and intent. The journey will be perilous, but with determination and courage, you can restore your kingdom." Over the following days, Arion guided Liana through the intricate melodies and harmonies that resonated with the trombone's magic. Each evening, under the watchful gaze of the moon and stars, they practiced in the garden. Liana found that the more she played, the more she could feel the flow of time bending to her will. The notes seemed to dance through the air, painting visions of the past and glimpses of the future. One night, as they played a particularly complex piece, a shimmering portal appeared before them. It was a window into the past, showing a moment before the curse took hold of Ebenreach. Liana saw her ancestors, vibrant and joyful, their laughter echoing through the portal. She watched as a dark figure approached, shrouded in a cloak of shadows. The figure raised his hand, and with a flash of light, the curse was cast. Liana's heart ached at the sight, but she also felt a surge of hope. "I can change this," she whispered, determination burning in her eyes. "I can stop the curse before it begins." Arion nodded. "Yes, but it will not be easy. The past is fragile, and any change can have unforeseen consequences. You must be careful and wise in your actions." With newfound resolve, Liana continued her practice, perfecting the time-altering melody. She knew that her first attempt to undo the curse would be a test of her abilities and her will. She was ready to face the challenges that lay ahead, driven by the hope of restoring her family and her kingdom. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting a golden light over the palace, Liana and Arion prepared for their journey into the past. With the silver trombone in her hands and a heart full of courage, Liana stepped through the portal, ready to confront the darkness that had haunted Ebenreach for so long. Stepping through the shimmering portal was like entering a dream. Colours swirled around Liana and Arion, merging and separating in a dance of light and shadow. The air grew heavy with the scent of ancient forests and blooming flowers, and Liana felt a tingling sensation coursing through her body as the fabric of time itself adjusted to their presence. When the light faded, they stood in the palace gardens. But everything was different. The sky was a brilliant shade of blue, and the sun cast warm, golden rays upon the vibrant flowers and lush greenery. Laughter and music filled the air, and Liana could see the royal court gathered near the fountain, enjoying a joyous celebration. Liana's heart swelled with emotion as she watched her ancestors, alive and happy, unaware of the impending curse. She spotted her great-grandmother, Queen Seraphina, radiant and regal, her laughter like the tinkling of bells. Beside her stood a young man, his face hidden by a hooded cloak. Liana recognized him from the visions. He was the sorcerer who would soon cast the curse. Arion placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Remember, Liana, we must be cautious. Any change we make can alter the course of history. We need to understand the sorcerer's motives before we can intervene. Liana nodded, her resolve unwavering. Let's follow him, she whispered, and learn what drives him to such darkness. They trailed the sorcerer as he slipped away from the festivities, moving with a purpose through the winding paths of the garden. The air grew cooler as they ventured deeper into the palace grounds, the shadows lengthening with each step. Finally, the sorcerer stopped at a secluded grove, where the ancient oak trees whispered secrets to the wind. From behind a thick curtain of ivy, Liana and Arion watched as the sorcerer removed his hood, revealing a face marked by sorrow and bitterness. He knelt before a small shrine, adorned with wilted flowers and a faded portrait of a young woman. "Elowen," he murmured, his voice breaking with emotion. "I failed you. I couldn't save you from their cruelty. But I swear I will make them pay. They will know the pain of loss as I have." Liana's heart ached with sympathy as she realized the depth of his grief. The sorcerer was not driven by mere malice, but by a profound sense of loss and betrayal. She turned to Arion, her eyes pleading. "We have to help him. If we can heal his pain, perhaps we can prevent the curse." Arion nodded. "But how do we approach him without causing more harm?" Liana took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "I'll talk to him. I need to show him that he doesn't have to seek vengeance, that there's another way." As the sorcerer rose to leave, Liana stepped out from their hiding place, her voice gentle but firm. "Wait!" He spun around, his eyes widening in surprise and suspicion. "Who are you? How did you find me?" "I am Princess Liana of Ebenreach," she said, holding her head high. "I know the pain you carry, the loss of someone dear to you, but revenge will only bring more suffering. Please let me help you find another way." The sorcerer narrowed his eyes, his hand twitching as if ready to summon his magic. "Why should I trust you? You are one of them, the royals who care nothing for the lives they destroy." Liana stepped closer, her voice softening with empathy. "I understand your anger, but not all of us are like that. I want to heal this land, to bring peace to our people. If you give me a chance, I can help you find the justice you seek without causing more pain." For a moment, the sorcerer hesitated, his eyes searching hers. Finally, he lowered his hand, a flicker of hope in his gaze. "If you can prove your sincerity, I will listen. But know this, princess, my patience is not infinite." Liana nodded, relief flooding through her. "Thank you. Together, we can change the future." As they walked back towards the palace, Liana felt a glimmer of hope. She knew the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but with the sorcerer's trust and Arion's guidance, she believed they could break the curse and restore Ebenreach to its former glory. The palace halls echoed with the distant memories of laughter and celebration As Liana and the sorcerer walked side by side, shadows of the past swirling around them like a delicate fog. Arion followed closely, his presence a silent testament to the trust that was slowly being forged. The sorcerer, whose name Liana now knew as Caelum, carried himself with a wary grace, his eyes darting around as if expecting betrayal at any moment. As they reached a secluded balcony overlooking the garden, Caelum stopped, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the sun was beginning its descent. "Tell me, princess," he began, his voice tinged with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. "How do you propose to help me find justice without resorting to vengeance?" Liana took a deep breath, her mind racing to find the right words. "Caelum, the pain you feel is a burden no one should bear alone. I believe that understanding and compassion can heal wounds that revenge only deepens. If we can learn the true cause of your beloved Elowen's suffering, perhaps we can prevent it and create a future where such pain does not exist." Caelum's eyes softened momentarily, but the hardness quickly returned. "Words are easy, princess. Actions are what matter. Show me how you intend to accomplish this." Liana nodded, determination shining in her eyes. "We will use the silver trombone to travel further into the past, to the moments before Elowen's tragedy. We need to understand the events that led to her suffering. Only then can we hope to change the course of history." Arion stepped forward, his voice calm and reassuring. "I will guide you both through the journey. The melodies we play will allow us to observe and interact with the past, but we must be cautious. The threads of time are delicate, and any rash action could have dire consequences." Caelum hesitated, then nodded. "Very well. But know this, princess. If you betray my trust, there will be no second chances." With the agreement in place, Liana lifted the silver trombone to her lips, her fingers caressing the cool metal. Arion began to play a soft, haunting melody on his flute, guiding Liana through the intricate notes that would open the portal to the past. As the music filled the air, the balcony around them shimmered and dissolved, replaced by a vision of the past. They found themselves standing in a bustling village square, the air filled with the sounds of merchants calling out their wares and children laughing as they played. The buildings were adorned with colourful banners, and the scent of fresh bread and blooming flowers mingled in the warm breeze. Liana's eyes widened as she saw a young woman with auburn hair and a radiant smile. It was Elowen, vibrant and full of life, her laughter echoing through the square. Beside her stood Caelum, his face unlined by grief, his eyes filled with adoration. As they watched, a commotion erupted near the edge of the square. A group of soldiers, clad in the royal colours of Ebonreach, marched in, their expressions grim. The villagers fell silent, their joy replaced by a palpable tension. Elowen and Caelum exchanged worried glances as the soldiers approached, their leader stepping forward with an air of authority. "By order of the king," he announced, his voice booming across the square, Elowen of Ebonreach is to be taken into custody for crimes against the crown. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd. Elowen's eyes widened in fear as she was roughly seized by the soldiers. "What is the meaning of this?" she cried out, struggling against their grip. The leader's eyes were cold and unyielding. "You are accused of practicing forbidden magic and consorting with dark forces. You will stand trial before the king." Lyanna's heart ached as she watched Caelum try to intervene, only to be struck down by the soldiers. The love and desperation in his eyes were clear as he shouted, "Elowen is innocent! This is a mistake!" As Elowen was dragged away, the vision began to fade, leaving Lyanna, Caelum, and Arion standing in the twilight of the palace balcony once more. Caelum's hands trembled, his eyes wet with unshed tears. "She was innocent," he whispered, his voice breaking. "They took her from me because of a lie." Lyanna placed a comforting hand on his arm. "We know the truth now, Caelum. Together we can expose the injustice and prevent this tragedy from happening. We can save Elowen and our kingdom." Caelum nodded, a flicker of hope rekindling in his eyes. "I will trust you, Princess. Let us change the past and build a future free of this curse." Lyanna, Caelum, and Arion stood together on the palace balcony, the weight of their newfound knowledge pressing heavily upon them. The injustice that had befallen Elowen and the subsequent chain of events that had led to the curse upon Ebonreach was a truth that burned brightly in their minds. It was time to act. Arion spoke first, his voice steady and reassuring. "The next step is to use the time-altering melody to intervene at the critical moment. We must be precise and careful. The smallest misstep could have unforeseen consequences." Lyanna nodded, her resolve unwavering. "We will save Elowen and prevent the curse, but we must be cautious. We need to gather more information and prepare ourselves for what lies ahead." Caelum, though still grappling with the emotions stirred by their journey into the past, agreed. "I will do whatever it takes to save Elowen and redeem myself for the suffering I have caused." With their plan set, they moved to the palace library, where ancient texts and scrolls lay undisturbed, waiting to reveal their secrets. Arion guided them through the labyrinth of knowledge, seeking clues and spells that could aid their mission. Hours turned into days as they pored over the texts, deciphering runes and piecing together fragments of forgotten lore. Lyanna's fingers grew accustomed to the feel of parchment, and her eyes adjusted to the dim light of the library. Every discovery brought them closer to understanding the magic that would allow them to alter the past. Finally, they found what they were looking for, a scroll detailing the Song of Kronos, an ancient melody said to hold the power to weave time itself. The notes were complex and interwoven, a tapestry of sound that required both skill and deep understanding. Arion took the lead, his mastery of music evident as he played the first few notes on his flute. The air shimmered with potential, and Lyanna felt a thrill of anticipation. She lifted the silver trombone, its weight familiar and comforting in her hands. As Arion continued to play, she joined him, the notes flowing seamlessly from her instrument, their music merging into a single powerful force. The world around them seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the melody. Colors intensified, and time itself felt malleable, as if they were standing on the cusp of different eras. Liana closed her eyes, letting the music guide her, and when she opened them, she knew they were ready. "Now," Arion said softly, "we must travel back to the moment of Elowen's arrest and intervene. Remember, we cannot be seen or heard by those in the past. Our actions must be subtle, yet effective." With a final harmonious chord, the air around them shimmered, and they were transported once more to the bustling village square of Ebenreach. The scene was as they had left it, with villagers going about their day, unaware of the tragedy about to unfold. Liana, Caelum, and Arion moved through the crowd, unseen and unheard, their presence like shadows among the living. They watched as the soldiers marched in, and as the leader stepped forward to announce Elowen's arrest, Liana's heart pounded with urgency. Arion played a soft, enchanting melody on his flute, casting a veil of confusion over the soldiers. They hesitated, their expressions clouded, and Elowen took the opportunity to slip away from their grasp. She moved swiftly, her auburn hair a beacon in the sea of villagers, and Liana felt a surge of hope. Caelum, his eyes filled with determination, used a spell they had discovered in the library to cloak Elowen in an aura of protection. The soldiers, still dazed by Arion's music, were unable to see her as she fled towards the edge of the square. The leader of the soldiers, shaking off the confusion, barked orders for his men to find her. But Liana, now fully attuned to the magic of the silver trombone, played a series of notes that bent the light around Elowen, rendering her invisible. The villagers, sensing the tension, began to disperse, and the soldiers, now thoroughly disoriented, could not locate their target. With Elowen safely hidden, the three time travelers retreated to the shadows, their mission a success. The village square returned to its normal bustle, the threat of the curse averted. Liana felt a wave of relief and accomplishment wash over her. As they returned to the present, the palace seemed brighter, the air lighter. The curse was weakening, its hold on Ebenreach loosening with each passing moment. Liana, Caelum, and Arion stood together, their hearts filled with hope, and the knowledge that they had taken the first crucial step towards restoring peace to their kingdom. The return to the present was a disorienting experience. The familiar surroundings of the palace slowly coming into focus as the effects of the time-altering melody dissipated. Liana, Caelum, and Arion stood in the grand hall, their breaths mingling in the cool air. The atmosphere felt lighter, and the oppressive weight of the curse seemed to have lifted slightly, a sign that their efforts were not in vain. Liana looked at her companions, a determined glint in her eyes. "We have made progress, but there is still much to be done. The curse is weakening, but it is not yet broken. We need to understand the full extent of the magic that binds it and find a way to undo it completely." Caelum nodded. his face etched with resolve. Elowen's safety was only the first step. We must ensure that the events leading to the curse never happen. We need to dig deeper into the kingdom's history to uncover the true nature of the spell. Arion, ever the voice of wisdom, agreed. We must return to the library and search for more clues. There may be hidden texts that can shed light on the origins of the curse and provide us with the knowledge we need to lift it once and for all. They made their way back to the library, the air thick with anticipation. The dim light of the setting sun filtered through the stained glass windows, casting colourful patterns on the stone floor. The library, with its towering shelves and ancient tomes, held a treasure trove of knowledge waiting to be uncovered. Hours turned into days as they scoured the shelves, searching for any information that could help them in their quest. Liana's fingers grew accustomed to the feel of old parchment, and her eyes adjusted to the dim light. They uncovered stories of ancient sorcery, forgotten spells, and tales of woe and wonder that had been lost to time. One evening, as the shadows lengthened and the library was bathed in a warm golden glow, Liana found a hidden compartment in an old, dust-covered bookshelf. Inside was a book bound in dark leather, its cover adorned with symbols of power and protection. She carefully opened it, her heart racing with anticipation. The book contained the history of the sorcerers of Ebenreach, detailing their rise to power and the conflicts that followed. It spoke of a great betrayal that had led to the casting of the curse, a powerful spell fueled by anger and grief. Liana read the words aloud, her voice steady despite the weight of the revelation. The curse was cast by a sorcerer named Theron, who was once a trusted advisor to the royal family. His beloved Elowen was falsely accused of practicing dark magic and was taken from him. In his anguish, Theron used the forbidden arts to curse the kingdom, vowing that the royal line would suffer as he had. Caelum's face paled as he listened, the pain of his past actions resurfacing. Theron was my ancestor, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. The curse he cast has haunted our family for generations. I must atone for his actions and break the spell. Arion placed a comforting hand on Caelum's shoulder. We now know the origin of the curse and the reason behind it. With this knowledge, we can find a way to counteract the spell and restore peace to Ebenreach. Liana closed the book, her eyes filled with determination. We need to return to the moment when the curse was cast and prevent it from taking hold. This will be our final attempt, and we must succeed. With the ancient book in hand and a renewed sense of purpose, they prepared for their journey back in time. Liana practiced the time-altering melody, each note resonating with the power of their combined resolve. Caelum, now fully committed to their cause, used his own magic to enhance the spell, ensuring their success. As the night deepened, they gathered in the palace gardens, the air filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the soft whisper of the wind. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a silvery light over the scene. Liana lifted the silver trombone to her lips, and with Arion's guidance, they played the melody that would take them back to the crucial moment. The world around them shimmered and shifted, and they found themselves once again in the village square of Ebenreach, just before the curse was cast. The tension was palpable, the air heavy with the anticipation of the events that were about to unfold. This time, they were prepared. With the knowledge they had gained and the strength of their determination, Liana, Caelum, and Arion were ready to face the past and change the course of history. As they stepped forward to confront Theron and prevent the curse, they knew that the future of Ebenreach rested in their hands. Chapter 2. The Journey Through Time. The village square of Ebenreach hummed with life, a vibrant tapestry of sound and colour. Liana, Caelum, and Arion stood unseen, the spell of invisibility cloaking them from the villagers' eyes. The air was thick with anticipation, the moment of the curse drawing near. They had returned to the past, armed with knowledge and resolve, ready to confront the darkness that had plagued their kingdom for generations. Liana's heart pounded as she watched the scene unfold. The soldiers marched into the square, their expressions grim and determined. The leader stepped forward, his voice booming as he announced Elowen's arrest. The crowd's murmur of disbelief and fear rippled through the air, but this time, Liana and her companions were ready. Arion played a soft, dissonant chord on his flute, casting a spell of confusion over the soldiers. They hesitated, their movements sluggish and uncertain. Elowen, sensing an opportunity, slipped from their grasp and darted towards the edge of the square. Caelum, using his own magic, cloaked her in an aura of protection, making her invisible to the soldiers' eyes. Liana watched as Theron, the sorcerer whose actions had brought about the curse, stepped forward. His face was a mask of grief and fury, his hands trembling with the power of the dark spell he was about to cast. Liana knew this was the crucial moment. She took a deep breath, lifted the silver trombone, and began to play the time-altering melody. The notes flowed from her instrument, weaving a tapestry of sound that resonated with the very fabric of time. Theron's eyes widened as he felt the magic take hold, his concentration faltering. Liana stepped forward, her voice steady and filled with compassion. "Theron, stop! You don't have to do this. We can help you find justice without bringing more pain and suffering." Theron turned to face her, his expression a mixture of surprise and anger. "Who are you? How do you know my name?" "I am Liana, a princess of Ebenreach," she replied, lowering the trombone. "I know of your pain and the loss of Elowen, but revenge will only perpetuate the cycle of hatred. Let us work together to uncover the truth and find a way to heal." Theron's eyes flickered with uncertainty. He glanced at the soldiers, who were still dazed by Arion's spell, then back at Liana. "Why should I trust you? The royals have done nothing but bring misery to my life." Liana stepped closer, her voice softening. "Because I am different. I seek to bring peace and justice to our land. We have already saved Elowen from false accusations. Let us now find a way to lift the curse and restore harmony to Ebenreach. Theron hesitated, his gaze searching hers. Finally he nodded, the anger in his eyes giving way to a glimmer of hope. Very well, Princess. I will give you a chance. But know this, if you fail, the curse will remain, and our kingdom will be doomed. Liana nodded, relief flooding through her. We will not fail, Theron. Together, we will change the course of history. With the immediate threat averted, they gathered in a quiet corner of the square, away from prying eyes. Elowen, now visible again, embraced Caelum, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered. "I thought I would never see you again." Caelum held her close, his own eyes wet with tears. "We will make things right, Elowen. I promise." Arion, ever the guiding hand, spoke up. "We need to delve deeper into the history of the curse. Theron, you must tell us everything you know about the events that led to this moment. Only then can we hope to find a way to break the spell." Theron nodded, his expression serious. It all began with a betrayal within the royal court. There were those who sought power at any cost, and they used Elowen as a scapegoat. The accusations of dark magic were false, but the damage was done. In my grief and anger, I turned to forbidden arts, casting the curse that now binds Ebenreach. Liana listened intently, her mind racing with possibilities. We need to find the source of the betrayal and expose those responsible. If we can reveal the truth, we can prevent the curse from ever being cast. With their path clear, they set out to uncover the hidden history of Ebenreach. They delved into the ancient archives, seeking records of the royal court and the events that had led to the accusations against Elowen. The truth they knew would be their greatest weapon against the darkness that had plagued their kingdom. As they pieced together the fragments of history, a pattern began to emerge. There were those within the court who had conspired to seize power, using fear and deception to achieve their ends. The betrayal ran deep, but so did the hope for redemption. Liana, Caelum, and Arion worked tirelessly, their determination unwavering. With each discovery, they grew closer to their goal. They knew that the final confrontation with the forces of darkness would be the true test of their resolve, but they were ready. Together, they would lift the curse and restore peace to Ebenreach. As they delved deeper into Ebenreach's hidden history, Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen unearthed more secrets about the royal court's betrayal. The records were old and fragmented, but they painted a vivid picture of greed and ambition. Certain noble families had manipulated events to their advantage, using fear and deceit to eliminate rivals. Elowen's unjust accusation had been part of their grand scheme to consolidate power. One evening, as the group pored over the ancient scrolls in the dim light of the library, a sudden gust of wind extinguished their candles. Shadows danced on the walls, and an eerie silence filled the room. Liana felt a chill run down her spine. "Someone is here," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The others looked around, their senses heightened. From the darkness, a figure emerged, cloaked in midnight blue, his violet eyes glowing faintly in the gloom. It was the sorcerer, Theron, whose presence seemed to command the very shadows. "You have come far," Theron said, his voice resonating with a deep, almost musical quality. "But your journey is far from over." Liana stood, her heart pounding. "Theron, we know of the betrayal that led to your grief and the curse you cast. We seek to prevent it and restore peace to our kingdom." Theron's eyes narrowed. Preventing the curse is no simple task. The forces that conspired against Elowen are powerful and deeply entrenched. They will not easily relinquish their hold on Ebenreach. Arion stepped forward, his flute in hand. "We have learned much, Theron, but we need your help. You know the dark arts better than anyone. Guide us, and together we can undo the wrongs of the past." Theron studied them, his expression inscrutable. "I have walked a path of shadows for many years. My heart is burdened with sorrow and rage. Yet I see in you a spark of hope that I thought long extinguished." He turned to Caelum, his gaze intense. "You are my blood, bound by the same pain. If you wish to atone for our family's actions, you must prove your resolve. There is a trial you must undertake, a journey through time that will test your strength, wisdom, and courage." Caelum nodded, his jaw set with determination. "I will do whatever it takes to lift the curse and save Ebenreach." Theron extended his hand, and a swirling vortex of light and shadow appeared in the center of the library. "This portal will take you to pivotal moments in our history. You must navigate these events and uncover the truth hidden within. Only then can you hope to confront the forces that conspired against Elowen." Liana felt a mix of fear and excitement. This was the moment they had been preparing for. She took Caelum's hand, and together they stepped towards the portal. Arion and Elowen followed, their expressions mirroring her own determination. As they entered the vortex, the world around them blurred and shifted. They found themselves in a grand hall filled with the opulence of a bygone era. Noble families gathered in clusters, their conversations a murmur of intrigue and ambition. At the head of the hall, on a raised dais, sat the king, his expression stern and regal. Liana recognized the scene from the records they had studied. This was the court of King Alaric, the ruler who had unknowingly been manipulated by the noble families. She scanned the room, her eyes landing on a group of nobles whispering in the shadows. Among them was a man with a cunning smile, his eyes gleaming with malice. This was Lord Roderick, the mastermind behind the conspiracy. "We must be careful," Arion whispered. "Any rash actions could alter the course of history in unforeseen ways. We need to observe and gather information." They moved through the hall, blending in with the crowd, their presence unnoticed. Liana listened to the nobles' conversations, piecing together the threads of their schemes. Lord Roderick spoke in hushed tones to his allies, plotting the downfall of those who opposed him. His plans were meticulous, designed to sow discord and fear. As the evening wore on, Liana and her companions gathered enough information to understand the full extent of the conspiracy. They knew now that the accusations against Elowen had been fabricated to distract the king from the true threat: Lord Roderick's bid for power. Theron's voice echoed in Liana's mind, a reminder of their mission. You have seen the roots of the betrayal. Now, you must find a way to expose the truth and prevent the curse. With a newfound sense of purpose, Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen prepared to confront Lord Roderick and reveal his treachery to the king. The fate of Ebenreach rested on their shoulders, and they would not fail. The grand hall of King Alaric's court faded into a swirl of colours as Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen stepped through the portal once more. They emerged into a vast, ethereal landscape where time seemed to flow like a river, bending and twisting in ways that defied understanding. The air was thick with magic, and the ground beneath their feet shifted and shimmered with each step. Arion's voice broke the silence, calm and steady. This is the realm of time, a place where past, present, and future converge. To complete our mission, we must navigate its trials. Each trial will test our resolve, wisdom, and unity. Only by overcoming these challenges can we hope to alter the course of history and break the curse. Liana felt a mix of anticipation and trepidation as they ventured deeper into the realm. The first trial awaited them in a grove of ancient trees, their branches intertwined like the threads of time itself. A soft, melodic whisper filled the air, drawing them toward a clearing where a figure stood waiting. The figure was a woman of ethereal beauty, her eyes shimmering with knowledge and sorrow. She introduced herself as Alicia, the guardian of memories. To pass this trial, she said, her voice like the rustle of leaves, you must confront the memories that bind you, the regrets and fears that hold you back. Only by embracing your past can you shape your future. Alicia raised her hand, and the clearing transformed into a series of vivid scenes from their lives. Liana saw herself as a child, playing in the gardens of Ebenreach, her laughter echoing through the years. She saw her parents, the king and queen, their faces etched with love and pride. But then the scenes shifted, showing the moment when the curse struck, her parents' expressions turning to sorrow and despair. Tears welled in Liana's eyes as she relived these memories. I was so happy, she whispered. And then everything changed. Alicia nodded, her gaze compassionate. You must accept both the joy and the sorrow, princess. Only by acknowledging your past can you find the strength to move forward. Liana took a deep breath, the weight of her memories settling within her. She turned to Caelum, who was watching his own scenes unfold. Moments of happiness with Elowen, followed by the anguish of her false arrest and the darkness that had consumed him. Caelum's eyes were filled with regret, his hands trembling. I should have been stronger, Caelum said, his voice barely audible. I should have protected her. Elowen stepped forward, her expression gentle. We cannot change the past, Caelum, but we can learn from it. We can become better, together. With those words, the grove shimmered, and the scenes of their past faded away. Alicia smiled, her eyes filled with pride. You have passed the first trial. Remember the lessons you have learned, and let them guide you through the trials to come. The landscape shifted once more, and they found themselves standing before a vast, crystal-clear lake. The surface of the water was perfectly still, reflecting the sky like a mirror. A bridge of light stretched across the lake, leading to an island where the next trial awaited. As they crossed the bridge, Arion spoke. This is the trial of reflection. We must confront our innermost fears and doubts, the shadows that linger within us. Only by facing these reflections can we hope to banish them. On the island, they were greeted by a figure made of light and shadow, its form constantly shifting. I am the keeper of shadows, it said, its voice a haunting echo. Each of you must step forward and confront the darkness within. Only then will you find the light that can guide you. Liana was the first to step forward. The keeper raised its hand, and the air around her grew cold and dark. A mirror appeared before her, and in its reflection, she saw herself, alone and lost, surrounded by the darkness of despair. Her fears whispered in her ear, telling her she was not strong enough to lift the curse, that she would fail her kingdom. But Liana refused to listen. She drew upon the strength of her memories, the love of her family, and the hope that had brought her this far. I am not alone, she said, her voice steady. I have my friends, my family, and my determination. I will not let fear control me. The darkness in the mirror shattered, replaced by a radiant light. The keeper of shadows nodded in approval. You have found your light, princess. Now let it guide you. Caelum, Arion, and Elowen each faced their own reflections, their fears and doubts. With courage and resolve, they overcame the shadows, finding the strength within themselves to continue their journey. With the trial of reflection behind them, they returned to the bridge of light. The keeper of shadows faded away, leaving them with words of encouragement. You have faced your past and your fears. The final trial awaits you. Only by embracing the full power of your unity and resolve can you hope to alter the course of history. As they continued their journey through the realm of time, Liana felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced their trials and emerged stronger. Now, they were ready to confront the forces that had conspired against them and lift the curse that had plagued Ebenreach for so long. Emerging from the realm of time, Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen found themselves back in the grand hall of King Alaric's court. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of urgency and anticipation. They knew that the final trial was upon them, and the fate of Ebenreach rested on their shoulders. As they looked around, the familiar faces of the nobles and courtiers filled the room. The whispers of intrigue and ambition were still present, but there was also a palpable tension in the air. Liana's eyes scanned the crowd, searching for any sign of Lord Roderick, the mastermind behind the conspiracy. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Theron, his presence commanding and filled with a newfound determination. He approached the group, his expression serious. The time has come to reveal the truth and confront the forces that have conspired against us. We must act swiftly and decisively. Liana nodded, her heart pounding with resolve. We are ready, Theron. Together, we will expose the treachery and lift the curse from our kingdom. Theron led them to a hidden alcove behind the throne, where a secret passageway led to the heart of the palace. The passage was dimly lit, the walls lined with ancient tapestries depicting the history of Ebenreach. As they moved deeper into the palace, the air grew cooler, and a sense of foreboding filled the corridor. At the end of the passage, they entered a small, dimly lit chamber. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which lay an ancient, ornate book. Its cover was adorned with symbols of power and protection, and the air around it crackled with magical energy. This is the Book of Shadows, Theron explained. It contains the secrets of the dark arts and the truth behind the curse. Only by reading its pages can we uncover the full extent of the conspiracy and find a way to break the spell. Liana approached the book, her fingers trembling as she opened it. The pages were filled with intricate runes and spells, their meaning hidden behind layers of magic. As she read, the words seemed to come alive, revealing the dark history of the royal court and the treachery that had led to the curse. The book spoke of Lord Roderick's ambition and greed, his manipulation of the king, and his use of forbidden magic to achieve his goals. It revealed the truth about Elowen's false accusations and the role she had played as an unwitting pawn in Roderick's scheme. But it also spoke of a counterspell, a way to undo the curse by exposing the truth and restoring the balance of power. Liana's heart raced as she read the final incantation. "We have the power to lift the curse," she said, her voice filled with hope. "But we must confront Lord Roderick and reveal his treachery to the king. Only then can we break the spell and restore peace to Ebenreach." With the book in hand, they made their way back to the grand hall. The nobles and courtiers turned to look at them, their expressions a mix of curiosity and suspicion. King Alaric sat on his throne, his eyes filled with a mixture of pride and weariness. Liana stepped forward, her voice steady and clear. "Your Majesty, we have uncovered the truth behind the curse that has plagued our kingdom. Lord Roderick has used deceit and forbidden magic to manipulate you and bring suffering to our people. We have the means to break the spell, but we need your support." The king's eyes widened in shock as he looked at Lord Roderick, who stood among the nobles, his face a mask of cold indifference. "Is this true, Roderick?" the king demanded, his voice trembling with anger. Roderick's eyes narrowed, a flicker of fear crossing his face. "These are baseless accusations, Your Majesty. Do not be swayed by their lies." Liana raised the Book of Shadows, its pages glowing with magical energy. "The truth is written here, Your Majesty. Allow us to perform the incantation and reveal the true nature of the curse." The king hesitated, then nodded. "Do what you must, Princess Liana." With the king's permission, Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen stood together, their hands joined as they began to chant the incantation. The air around them shimmered with power, and the ground beneath their feet trembled. As they spoke the final words, a blinding light filled the hall, and the truth of Lord Roderick's treachery was laid bare for all to see. The nobles gasped in shock as Roderick's deceit was revealed. The king's face hardened with anger, and he rose from his throne. "Roderick, you have betrayed your king and your kingdom. You will answer for your crimes." Roderick's expression twisted with rage as he was seized by the guards. "You may have exposed me, but you will never lift the curse." Liana stepped forward, her voice filled with unwavering determination. "The curse will be lifted, and Ebenreach will be free. We will not let your darkness prevail." With Roderick taken away, the final part of the incantation was spoken. The curse that had plagued Ebenreach for generations began to unravel, its dark energy dissipating into the air. The hall filled with a sense of relief and hope as the weight of the curse was lifted from their hearts. As the light faded, Liana looked at her companions, their faces filled with joy and triumph. They had faced their trials, uncovered the truth, and broken the curse. Ebenreach was free, and a new era of peace and prosperity awaited them. The grand hall buzzed with the energy of hope and renewal. The revelation of Lord Roderick's treachery and the partial lifting of the curse had set the stage for the final act of their journey. Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen stood before King Alaric, their faces alight with determination. "We have exposed the truth and begun to undo the curse," Liana said, her voice ringing clear and strong. "But the final step requires a concert, a harmony of magic and music that will seal the spell and restore Ebenreach completely." King Alaric, his eyes filled with gratitude and pride, nodded. "You have my full support. The palace will prepare for this concert, and the entire kingdom will bear witness to the moment of our redemption." Preparations began immediately. The palace was transformed into a magnificent concert hall, adorned with flowers and banners symbolizing hope and unity. The people of Ebenreach gathered, filling the grand hall and spilling out into the gardens, eager to witness the moment that would change their fate. Liana stood at the center of the stage, the silver trombone in her hands, its surface gleaming under the light of 1,000 candles. Caelum, Arion, and Elowen stood beside her, their instruments ready. The air was thick with anticipation as the crowd fell silent, their eyes fixed on the stage. Arion began to play a soft, haunting melody on his flute, the notes weaving through the air like a delicate thread of magic. Elowen joined in, her harp adding a gentle harmony that resonated with the hearts of all who listened. Caelum's violin followed, its rich, vibrant tones blending with the music to create a tapestry of sound that filled the hall. Liana lifted the trombone to her lips and began to play. The notes flowed from her instrument, each one carrying the power of the time-altering melody. The music surged and swelled, filling the hall with a sense of awe and wonder. The magic of the silver trombone intertwined with the melodies of her companions, creating a harmony that resonated with the very essence of Ebenreach. As they played, the air around them shimmered with light. The power of their music reached out, touching the hearts of everyone present. The curse that had bound the kingdom began to unravel completely, its dark tendrils dissolving into the air. The light grew brighter, filling the hall with a radiant glow that seemed to cleanse the very soul of Ebenreach. The final notes of the concert rang out, pure and clear, like a bell tolling the end of a long, dark night. The music faded, leaving a profound silence in its wake. The people of Ebenreach held their breath, their eyes wide with wonder and hope. King Alaric rose from his throne, his face shining with tears of joy. "The curse is lifted," he proclaimed, his voice trembling with emotion. "Ebenreach is free!" A cheer erupted from the crowd, a roar of jubilation that echoed through the halls and out into the night. The people embraced one another, their faces alight with joy and relief. The kingdom had been saved, and a new era of peace and prosperity had begun. Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen stood together, their hearts filled with a sense of accomplishment and unity. They had faced the darkness, uncovered the truth, and brought light back to their kingdom. They had proven that even in the face of despair, hope and determination could prevail. As the celebration continued, Liana felt a gentle hand on her shoulder. She turned to see Theron, his eyes filled with gratitude and pride. "You have done what I could not," he said softly. "You have saved our kingdom and redeemed our family. Thank you." Liana smiled, her heart swelling with warmth. "We did it together, Theron, all of us." The night was filled with music and laughter, a testament to the resilience and strength of the people of Ebenreach. As the stars shone brightly above, Liana knew that their journey had come to a triumphant end. The silver trombone had fulfilled its purpose, and the kingdom was once again a place of light and hope. But she also knew that their story was far from over. There would be new challenges and adventures ahead, new songs to be sung, and new melodies to be played. And with her friends and family by her side, she was ready to face whatever the future held. As dawn broke over Ebenreach, the first rays of sunlight kissed the palace walls, illuminating the joyous faces of the kingdom's inhabitants. The celebration had continued through the night, a testament to the resilience and unity of a people who had overcome darkness and despair. Liana stood on the balcony overlooking the gardens, her heart swelling with a sense of fulfillment and hope. The silver trombone, now resting in its case, had played its part in their victory. She knew it would always be a symbol of their struggle and triumph, a reminder of the power of music and magic when combined with determination and love. King Alaric joined her, his face glowing with pride and gratitude. "Liana, you and your companions have given our kingdom a second chance. The curse is broken, and our people are free. How can we ever repay you?" Liana smiled, her eyes reflecting the morning light. Seeing our kingdom restored and our people happy is all the reward we need, Your Majesty. But our work is not done. We must ensure that the events that led to the curse are never repeated. The king nodded, his expression thoughtful. You are right. We must learn from our past and build a future based on trust, unity, and compassion. The truth you uncovered about the treachery in the court will serve as a lesson for all of us. Throughout the day, Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen worked alongside the king to implement changes that would safeguard Ebonreach's future. They reformed the royal court, ensuring transparency and justice. They established new councils that included representatives from all walks of life, giving a voice to the people and fostering a sense of community and cooperation. In the weeks that followed, Ebonreach flourished. The land, once blighted by the curse, bloomed with new life. Crops thrived, rivers sparkled with clarity, and the air was filled with the songs of birds and the laughter of children. The people of Ebonreach embraced the changes, their hearts filled with hope and optimism. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange and pink, the royal family and their closest allies gathered in the palace gardens for a special ceremony. Liana stood at the center, flanked by Caelum, Arion, and Elowen. King Alaric stepped forward, holding a beautifully crafted medal symbolizing bravery and unity. Today, we honor those who have brought light to our darkest hour, the king announced, his voice carrying across the gardens. Princess Liana, Caelum, Arion, and Elowen, your courage and dedication have restored our kingdom. You have shown us the true meaning of leadership and sacrifice. The crowd erupted in applause as the king placed the medals around their necks. Liana felt a surge of pride and happiness, knowing that their journey had not only lifted the curse, but also forged bonds that would never be broken. Theron, standing nearby, approached Liana with a warm smile. You have done more than restore our kingdom, Liana. You have healed old wounds and brought our family back together. I am proud to call you my kin. Liana embraced him, her heart full. We did it together, Theron. Your guidance and wisdom were crucial to our success. Now, we can look forward to a future filled with promise and peace. As the night wore on, the gardens were filled with music and laughter once more. Arion played his flute, its sweet melodies mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft murmur of the crowd. Elowen's harp added a layer of enchantment, while Caelum's violin brought a richness and depth to the music. Liana joined in with the silver trombone, its notes soaring through the air, a symbol of their triumph and the harmony they had achieved. The music told the story of their journey, of the trials they had faced and the victories they had won. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bonds of friendship and family. As the final notes of their concert faded into the night, Liana looked around at her friends and family, her heart filled with gratitude. They had faced the darkness together and emerged stronger, their spirits united by a common purpose. The stars twinkled above, a reminder of the vast possibilities that lay ahead. Liana knew that their story was far from over. There would be new challenges, new adventures, and new melodies to be played. But with her friends and family by her side, she was ready to face whatever the future held. Ebenreach had been restored, and with it, the promise of a bright and prosperous future. The kingdom would thrive, guided by the lessons of the past and the hope of a new dawn. And as long as there were hearts willing to fight for what was right, the magic of the silver trombone would continue to inspire and unite them.